we're here now in Brazil, an incredibly fast flight. It's only 5 minutes to travel across the Atlantic there. I almost forgot which ocean that was.
Are we going, I guess vertically. I was like, Gore. Oh, we were in Europe. That's right. I was thinking about where we were. I was thinking about where we were to Brazil, and I was like, is that
go this way?
Do you consider that across the Atlantic? I guess it would be, right? We're going straight vertically over it. InControl Nation versus Carnage Gaming, huh? I'm excited for this one. I mean, this is a top matchup from the previous phase. Some changes to both teams, but they've still looked pretty strong. I want to see how they kind of go into each other, and especially in this Brazil meta, because it really does kind of feel like Bizarro land sometimes.
This is the one that, as a region, will shuffle things up for us, and sometimes we can predict it, sometimes we cannot. It just depends on. I want to say what teams are playing, but even then, that's not what it depends on. Brazil. Maybe it's scrims with NA, maybe it's scrims with each other as to what will come through. This is a place where we've seen Moji. Talus actually started propping up here before it did anywhere else. So maybe expect to see them on the leading edge of some of these picks. As we move forward, Jaguar Falls is going to be the place. We'll just have to see what they do. This is one that's maybe even weirder for trying to figure things out, just because at the end of the day, anything can happen here.
Yeah, Jaguar Falls, it's open to whatever you want it to be, but Ashe will still be good. So Ashe is still taken out from them having that kind of aggressive off-tank potential, able to shoot around corners, able to have a shield, able to have a great quick ultimate that you can get and CC the entire team. And response from Carnage, interestingly enough, is Moji, a character that kind of fell from grace. I get that it's Jag, but I feel like we haven't seen her at all, ever. Lately.
That screams to me specifically InControl. Actually, one of the things that maybe, has been touched on, but it is always worth reminding. They took out Zero this time around. King Kaiser joined them. And it's one of those things that technically he was listed as their off-tank, but at the end of the day, Kresnik, you never know. And if you're going to run triple DPS, King Kaiser is going to lock in Moji on this map. It's one of the few consistencies we've had than what we saw a while ago, I guess, when Na'Vi was doing it. But admittedly, Moji has been nerfed since then, so it's still kind of bizarre to see her maybe take that much precedence.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think there's other stuff you can run instead. I think you can deal with her now, even playing Koa. Just hook her after her shield goes down. Any form of CC is going to help. I think I like how InControl started this. The Corvus, we know is going to be good. We know he's going to get that great healing. We know he's going to spread around those marks and all that stuff. But giving up in Nara and potentially what I know is going to be following it in this Vivian, this is a tough roster, just comp in general, to overcome on Jaguar Falls. This Vivian is going to have so much damage. Booby Trap's going to get a ton of value on this map where there's kind of corners and everything like that. And this Inara is going to soak a lot. And they got rid of, I'd say, the best pairing for it with the Corvus right now.
Now, this is the interesting thing in the world where I'm going to make this comparison. And it's just in terms of kind of play. Maybe it's just UI. I don't know where the correlation comes through. But in my mind, Vivian, Moji, and Ruckus all hit maybe the same notes for a team on this map. Maybe Moji doing it a little faster than everybody else with her mobility. But something could still potentially see through. If we were in Europe, I guarantee you there'd be a Ruckus on the screen already.
Yeah.
Since we're in Brazil, there's a good chance we might not even see one. Corvus, Cassie, Atlas on the other side, though. The Atlas, I'm kind of curious about. I mean, I feel like we've seen a little bit more. I can't even think of the word. He's just been taking a little bit more priority. There we go.
Yeah.
As he gets picked up. And we've seen him have mixed success overall. And so maybe we'll see that come through here, depending on if they run him solo or not. Is maybe the question of whether or not I let you argue with them or not.
Well, I think solo could still work, but they're gonna pull out a Koga instead, kind of pairing it with that pocket, I guess. I like the Atlas Bomb King combo. If they know how to do that little trick where you can jump through the shield to get that speed, you can have a really fast BK out, but then you also sacrifice 4 to 5 points of your build, which doesn't really have room for speed anymore, and you're using it to get one BK ult that could get countered by an Inara just standing in the way, or a Talus ruining out of it. From the other side, and Carnage have one last pick. they could use here. We'll see what they end up wanting for a map like Jaguar Falls. I would have said another tank, but Leon picked up by them instead. That seems to me targeted potentially to deal with that Koga. Pair that with any healer. Leon can just kind of burst him down potentially with all of her cooldowns. Still an interesting pick, I would say, from this Koga. I don't even know who it really duels that well into. I feel like everyone on Carnage can kind of just live against it.
Yeah, I'm a little worried for InControl. Cassie, Bomb King, I think this is great maps for them. Corvus going to be able to showcase a lot, but the Atlas Koga may be the weak points of it, and as much as I hate to say it, maybe part of the core as well. Leon, Vivian, very solid as far as DPS goes. Talus has been doing well, not just on this map in Brazil, but in the world as of late. So we'll have to figure it out if they're going to be able to make things work. Ares, Rachel, Scooter, Gervin, Crimson. Everyone you know and love there on Carnage Gaming. And I will admit, I unfortunately haven't gotten to see much of Rachel on this team. I think once a couple weeks ago. So I'm excited to get a little bit more of a glimpse onto him. He's going to be piloting this Leon as we go into this game.
Yeah, having him be flexible on this. I'll be honest, even when I was coaching the team, I really didn't see him play a ton of DPS. I think I've seen him play Buck more than anything. When Buck was kind of super tanky, I think we were just juggling around the idea of having this off-tank Buck, but his DPS has been, I think, fine. It's been playable in the past, so I think he'll do well on this. Large shield for the solo tank Atlas. I think very difficult to solo tank with it, but if you get the maximum value out of the shield as you can, it is doable. But a lot of backlines on there to kind of punish them anytime they try to push through and poke past those shields.
Now, I'm not normally one to divert the conversation to titles that are in the game, but Crimson's running Vanquisher of All That Is Bad and Evil, and that is just such an obnoxiously long title.
It's actually, not only that, it's actually off-center on the loading screen. So it's like slightly to the left and goes past the frame. It is so big. And it is definitely a very large title, and I think the intimidation factor could play into this.
Well, you gotta have something that goes big. Right now, we'll have to figure out if it's just the title or the play as well. Scooter finally pulling one back in their favor. 45-3. Carnage Gaming take to the point. Maybe a little bit late in Control Nation. It's off to a pretty kind of surprising good start. Ice Monkey doing his best dance here up against Scooter. He's going to be putting that pressure on. But here's Mika. Those dashes can only get you so far, so fast. Gervin with a double kill. This Vivian is now in a comfortable spot. No way to counter that one, though. What a good shot from Amadeus. Gets two in the span of a little bit of time there. Double kill picked up for the Cassie. Something I was hoping to see. Maybe not exactly in that precise order. I would have seen a Poppy Bomb coming through, but disengage works just as well. And InControl are fighting back pretty well here.
Yeah, I think Mika has actually been a boon to them in terms of staying alive, or at least in doing constant damage. The Koga, the way you want to play him most of the time, I think, at high-level play is exactly what Mika's doing right now, where you just shred the tank on point. Koga does a lot of damage super consistently. Once he actually gets focused, he should be able to live a lot of the time, but not off of a Dread Serpent and a Seismic Crash to follow it up. Kaiser's so dangerously low, and Ares finds the follow-up.
Yeah, it's up to Ares right now to try and turn things around. He's low, and he's not going to be able to find it. Amadeus stays alive, still low, and so a couple of straight bullets might find their way over there, but you have to worry about this point, 99-99. Ice Monkey goes down. That's your only tank. Leon looking to pour forward with damage, but once again, there's Corvus dropping the ult, making sure it's a dangerous place to stand. Unfortunately for InControl, it doesn't seem like they cared. And even though it was a good ult, I think, to lock that down, it didn't change much in their favor. Just slow kills coming out, and Carnage find themselves up 1-0.
Oh, him not ulting is so important. He actually could have kept that fight going for the respawns, maybe done a ton of damage, but just unable to do it. King Kaiser on this Bomb King slows down the aggression. The setback actually could have kind of jump-started things for them, but not connecting is that one from Ice Monkey, so game will go on, but we do have a pause right now. Maybe InControl needs to just sit back and figure out what they want to do here with this triple DPS comp. Even though it is into another triple DPS comp, I feel like they're just a little squishier into what they have on the side of Carnage. This Vivian will live through a lot of damage. This Talus can get away. They just have a lot of kind of get out of jail free cards on the side of Carnage that they're going to use to win their duels.
Yeah, things are going to get more complicated as time goes on. Maybe good ults on the side of InControl Nation can change things around. I mean, a nice slow field from Corvus combined with maybe some Exiles timed well with a King Bomb. I mean, that's 3, but you could do either or of those setups to try and find a good ult for your carry here in King Kaiser. So pressure onto them to make it work. But Carnage Gaming, like you said, a lot of get out of jail free cards. Maybe you don't have that immunity anymore on Enlightenment, but it still pretty much stops you from dying in a lot of instances.
Someone in chat was very disappointed in you yesterday. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, was it when I forgot the
one
name?
thing, you just mentioned like something about using Scout for CC immunity as like,
yeah.
And someone in chat was like, I thought better of you, Gore. Like they were actually very, very disappointed. Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. I was like, oh man, that's a tiny little thing. It doesn't really matter, but
I thought it was because I forgot the name of Enlightenment for like 10 minutes yesterday, and I kept calling it Presence. No, Leon's ult. It's got a wide hitbox. That's all you need to know.
Actually, Amadeus looks like he also forgot that Scout doesn't give you CC immunity anymore, because he tried to use it to live through Ares' ult with 10 HP left, dies to the true power, and Ares now kind of able to continue surviving on this side.
I'm going to give my excuse now. I've been casting the game for 3 years, dude. I can't remember whether or not they took the CC immunity away or gave it back. There were so many nerfs to that ult, and Cassie in general just a little over, what, a year and a half ago, because of how potent she was and how much play she saw. Amadeus, he's going to get locked away here. Either way, the vision's still solid. So, it is what it is. Carnage just walked that one in. That's the end of that round. Very quick. I was expecting maybe more flair from these teams. And, well, unfortunately, there wasn't much from InControl Nation to make the flash.
Yeah, I think the Cassie's doing a great job on InControl trading these kills, but everyone else on the team kind of struggling to find it. I think Cassie is the one who's willing to chase it down, I guess, or is getting the follow-up on what the rest of the team is doing. But I mean, look at Carnage right now. They're all streaking out. Highest deaths is Ares, but I think the rest of them, they're playing pretty well what they have. Again, so many ways to live when they actually try to dive in. Let's take a look at maybe whose build do we want to see. Let's look at Damba. Why not? Otherworldly 1. 75 shield after a dash plus possession. Lower on speed Swift Spirits than I would expect. But, and possession too, so interesting. He's not really maxing on anything, kind of going for a jack of all trades on the side of Crimson. Seems to be working out for them at least pretty effectively so far. They were differently sided mid though. Take the right side. Teams kind of split by this temporal divide. Ares might not be able to get heals. We'll see what he can do.
James Bond's older brother right now in Crimson. 008 that's coming through on this streak. Looking pretty good for him, Ares, with the first blood of this round. 42% picked up for InControl Nation though. Taking a note from what we've seen a lot of teams do. Get that pressure on point. And now, yeah, you have to fight for a retake, but you don't have to fight nearly as hard to hold on to the point if you are able to get there. Unfortunately, Koga, Mika now staggered out. Ice Monkey taking almost half his health bar just to get to the objective, let alone trying to contest it on point. That's going to be difficult for InControl to get back into this.
That shield is so rough. He used it so early, and now he has basically nothing to keep this fight moving. They spend the Entropic Breach, it looks like, near the objective, but Ares is just diving in, forces them in. Scooter cleans up too.
Good kills. Mika able to find one in return. And that's all she wrote about that one. 3-0 right now for Carnage Gaming. Feels like it's going to be a dominant performance. When Scooter, let me tell you, again, from someone who plays a lot of Inara, when that is your perspective during a mid-fight, your team's doing well. Like, you do not get that aggressive unless you just know you can run them down. And so I think it says something for Carnage and how aggressive they are. That it shows cases that InControl maybe aren't in control of this one. And honestly, I might be starting to look towards game number 2 for them unless they can turn things around heavily here. Already halfway there. And only about 40 seconds have passed. A lot of pressure on them to pick things up. Jaguar Falls going way too well for Carnage. Good shots. Rachel from the back line. The rest of the team here in the front lines, digging through the trenches and just melting anyone on InControl. 4 people down. Kresnik, I feel like there's going to be a chance for one more fight, but feels like this one might just walk in.
If this Big Shield, I feel like they've gotten negative value from Big Shield. If this Big Shield isn't huge, and it's not, because Ice Monkey got shot again before he could get in because of all the pressure from Carnage. What are they going to do? Seismic Crash comes into the back. Ice Monkey stunned, immediately deleted, and discards. They have no tanks. It's just going to roll right in. Carnage sometimes just didn't stop.
Sometimes you just wait until it's down. Yeah, you know, we talk about this a lot, but as a talent, and maybe you can open my eyes more to this, but You get this really big shield.
Gore, I'm going to close your eyes.
Seconds,
I don't like this
stops all
talent.
bullets, then disappears for 21 seconds, and you just watch as Seismic Crash comes through and everything falls apart.
Listen, I know you want me to open your eyes, but I think I'm going to glue them shut if it comes to this talent, because I really don't like it. I don't think it's very good. I think that sacrificing so much time on your only, like, your best cooldown, Atlas's best cooldown is the shield, in my opinion. It blocks an infinite amount of damage, just like Terminus Siphon, and it can give him sustain. He can reset it. It is his best cooldown, and you're saying, well, I'll make it bigger so that everyone knows I did it, so they can run away, and I'll add 7 extra seconds to the cooldown. I get it when you're playing off-tank. I understand conceptually what you can do with it as off-tank, but if you're solo tank, you just cannot get away with it. You just can't get away with adding 7 seconds to your arguably best cooldown on the character.
I think it's just unfortunate to see it come down that way. A very fast game 1, not unseen considering what we saw in Europe there, so maybe something that could still continue going. Up to InControl to try and flip things on its head moving forward. You can look at the numbers, and they don't tend to lie, although they don't get that big when the game goes by that quickly. So unfortunately, you maybe don't get the exact showcase you wanted. What I see, the highest 54,000 from Leon, and I mean that's a lot of damage from Rachel, honestly, given the time limit of the game. But I don't think there's a lot of eye openers for InControl other than to just go back and kind of start over.
Yeah, this is definitely a GG go next kind of situation. When you lose like this, you're just saying, all right, well, we got outdrafted. Let's not do that again. Now, when's the next game happening? You just immediately move past it. And Scooter probably wants to dwell on it a little bit, though, going 9-0-9, top killing on his team and having 0 deaths. So definitely good feelings from him, and that'll help them once they move into the next map, which I believe, looking at my document here, is, I'm assuming, Carnage's pick, so they get to win and then immediately roll right into choosing where they want to go next.
Yeah, that's typically good for you. I mean, we used to talk about it a lot in the best of 7s. I think even better in a best of 5. You know, in a best of 7 that we watched a lot of last year, you'll see for finals a lot, maybe, you know, throughout this year, depending on how things continue going. You get up 2 games at the very beginning, cool. You only have to win 2 more, maybe makes things a little bit easier since it's loser's pick that you can control the flow of the game. Mm-hmm. In a best of 5, you have 1 loser's pick map that maybe can go awry before you can try to seal the deal. So most cases, we end up seeing these teams seal it in 3-1. We'll have to see actually more out of InControl here, though, if we want to see them even make it that far. And that's something, I think it's not uncharacteristic depending on the teams. And I think in Brazil even we've seen this a lot. Sometimes you just lose 4-0, then win 4-0, then lose 4-0, then win 4-0, and then we're in a game 5, and we're like, I wonder what just happened.
Yeah, and I will say, I forgot to mention this at the start of this set, but map bans for it. You mentioned Frog Isle getting banned a lot, and that is exactly what happened. InControl banned Ice Mines and Frog Isle, and Carnage.
What's up?
Carnage banned Warder's Gate and Splitstone Quarry. So those maps out of the picture, and Bazaar is where we're going to be headed next. Carnage's choice, so a big map, an open map for these backlines. Maybe they want to give Rochelle Leon again, but I wouldn't be shocked if they honestly try to deny it from them on the side of InControl.
Gotta stretch. It's been a while since I've come to Bazaar. I'm excited for this one, but
I love Bazaar.
Notably, a longer map from what you typically see. Some teams did figure it out. It felt like we were on the precipice of getting some 4-0s here, and sometimes you just steamroll and maybe you find it, but. Kind of a longer map as far as most engagements are concerned. I think Ice Mines being banned, this is maybe the only one that could contend with an Ice Mines timer as far as game length. Maybe Timbermill is up there as well, because they just all have some niche styles of play. And if you get the right draft, you get exactly what you want. I think it can come in your favor, but it is going to be up to, well, right now, up to InControl to try and figure that one out in their favor.
I'm just waiting for people in chat to say Strix Talus aim assist meta. I don't think there's a single controller player in this game. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure everyone in this game is on mouse and keyboard. These hit scan characters are just this strong. They're just able to kind of output this damage, and hey, guess what? If you're good with them, sometimes you'll do 50% more damage if you're good enough to hit those headshots. So definitely nice to kind of have that flexibility on the character, and these players are good enough to actually hit these headshots. See these picks here. First pick, Sha Lin for Carnage. a character that has kind of just shot up to prominence in Brazil and in North America. The utility he has, that 1300 burst that also gives an AoE cripple, kind of counters any flank aggression that the other team wants to do.
And honestly, I think Shaolin, it's that weird moment, like Victor, Vivian, Strix, Talus, Canessa, insert extra hit scans I'm forgetting, Androxus, etc., all seem to take precedence. But at the end of the day, Cassie, Shaolin, Leon, who is technically hit scan, but let's count her in this conversation where I'm putting her, those three have kind of disappeared from the meta. And I don't think it's for much reason outside of other people just do it a little easier, right? Victor's going to get a little bit more damage easier than Shaolin. But I think in the right hands, Shaolin, Cassie, as well as Leon are going to be able to outperform a lot of these people. So I'm excited to see it. Vivian Corvus there to answer back for it. I don't know. InControl, I think it's solid for them, but it's just the start. We'll have to see what Carnage can bring.
Yeah, Carnage, I think it's a solid start to the draft, though. Sha and Xin both boosted. It is double projectile, so a little less consistent, but, I mean, Shaolin, again, he brings a lot to the table. Xin has that execute, so whatever tank they get maybe can get deleted by that guillotine if they pull it out. Looks like Barrack indeed will be getting deleted by this guillotine more than likely because he has no real way to escape from it outside of the dash. Inara would have had the DR. Nando has the ultimate, but Barrack will potentially get shredded, and they can use it to counter that dome shield. Options still open, though, for Carnage. We'll see what they want to do. I mean, with Genos on Bazaar, it's a wide map. You can maybe play those back lines and have that range you can utilize with this triple DPS, and that is where they want to go. Leon picked up for them again, and Leon actually even a better pair, I think, with this Genos than any of the other healers because of her attacks counting as weapon attacks. It should all still be getting boosted by the Genos, so even more burst damage that you really can't miss.
And if you do miss it, then we have to have a conversation. That's talent, I think, that you have in order to make sure those don't connect. Maybe needing a tank, though, right now for Carnage. Although Bazaar is one of those maps where things have just been shaken up is the way I'm going to say it, but they go con. So here's the thing. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see a Nara down there in those bands.
No.
So where's my Nara? Why? I'm just kind of maybe it's just pure damage. Maybe it's Bazaar, but you've got Barrack on one side, Khan solo tank on the other. Kind of feels like something's going to fall apart here for one of these teams. I just don't know which.
I mean, I think both of the tanks. I think Khan is actually a decent solo tank. I think Barrack will probably do fine here. I mean, there's only Leon on the other side for hit scan, so his headshot hitbox doesn't really matter as much. The issue comes when they push through his shield, potentially. So a lot of hit scan, though, from InControl. And Androxus, I think, is a great answer. As long as they have that Shaolin, at least the Shaolin or the Leon kind of pressured down, Andro can just dash up and shoot down onto that Khan and really mitigate the sustain that his shield is going to be giving him. So potential value there, but it's a big ask to start. They have to win the fight on the sides before Andro can do that. If Carnage win that, then that Khan sustains job becomes a lot easier.
Will be the question whether or not they can deal with that or not. And I think Overpower maybe going to be big later on in the game. Very easy to confirm off of, especially with this much damage on your team. It shouldn't be too much of an issue. Good range, but now we'll have to figure out whether or not Bazaar is going to be the map for them on InControl, or if Carnage are going to go forward. And you even threw up a poll, so go ahead.
I did throw up a poll, and that's why I took time.
Chat.
It also let me realize
it's going to make sense.
It also let me realize that I never gave you the ability to look at the draft on my screen. So luckily you do have the stream open, so I'm glad you were able to delay enough on your end to see the picks. Sorry about that, but Carnage's map will be up next. We should be heading into game in a moment. Hopefully you guys can vote in that poll to kind of show your allegiance to your preferred teams as I remember what to type in to actually see the game that we want to see here. But Bazaar, I always love to see this. I think it's just because of my first set I ever cast in the PPL when I cast with Evan way back in the day when I had that 8-game set and it ended with Bazaar. I think just doing that game has permanently set my mind to just love Bazaar.
See, I thought you were going somewhere different because there were a lot of sets where you go at least at the distance, depending on how you get it. That's why I feel like maybe it's just because I saw a lot of ice mines that made sets longer, but I have not hid my distaste for looking and watching ice mines, although it definitely has started to come together a lot better so far. I'm excited to see what they can do here, though. Bazaar is a great map, and I think one of the most beautiful spawn rooms that you could ever be in. Unfortunately, the best part of it you hardly get to see because it's behind you. So always remember, turn around when you walk in.
I always explore it during my games, and then I hear 5, 4, and panic, as you do when you're trying to make that work. I'm gonna take a look at his Xin build, because Xin is one of those characters that has unique builds that kind of switch from player to player. And it looks like Ares, he's running Guillotine, right? Yeah, he is running Guillotine, so he has Fan the Flames to reset after getting kills, and he has just some whirl dashes, whirl resets, stuff that'll help him out, I think, in this fight as he starts on the low ground, fighting here into Ice Monkey's shield, already half HP, but point control firmly on InControl's side.
That is something that you maybe expect when you see Barrack versus Khan. To see if kills can start coming up in favor of Carnage. Point control definitely does feel like it skews one way. Andro low. One falling as of yet. Damage from Gervin has been solid. No one able to lock him down. Good shots once again, but that reversal is going to save the life of Andro. He's been flirting with death. Finally goes down there. Rachao with the first blood. Looking to make a second blood happen real soon afterward as Gervin not going to stay aggressive and ends up costing him his life. King Kaiser gets credit for that kill. 93% to now 9 on the other side. Barrack's still alive. Maybe looking to get staggered here. Just slightly behind the rest of the group. Looks like InControl. I don't know. It feels like they're still in some control here. 93% is going to be hard to match.
Yeah, at the very least, they don't get completely staggered out, so Amadeus will just be able to sit back here and free fire. Cripple, actually, though, a little bit early, so Amadeus will be able to come back into the fight. But Rachao, the only person on the side who pushes into a Leon and falls. Andro should be able to get them this OT with Khan completely surrounded. That's his biggest weakness. He's so low, and Mikar finishes off the kill.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too difficult to move back in there, and Mikar is going to go ahead and pick up even more as Ice Monkey finds himself a kill just to put icing on the cake at that point. InControl find themselves point number 1, and if we end up in a position where both teams 4-0 on the other's map pick, and we're in topsy-turvy land, and nothing that we know is true anymore. But what we do know is Barrack, as far as things are concerned, better point tank. Seems like that control is helping him out. Good reversals. Amadeus didn't quite make it out of that one, but little moments like that are going to be what could potentially escalate you to the top.
Yeah, I mean, strong. There was just a strong flank from Ares coming all around the outside. And look at this. They're just flanking them. They're just surrounding. But Rachao does get caught out, doesn't rotate out and get healed fast enough. And he's able to kind of clean up by getting aggressive. So the rest of InControl back away with Barrack still sitting behind his shield. Could be a chance to push once that shield is down, and Carnage might be taking it, especially off of that cripple arrow with the extra 300 damage. The side they're taking. This is a great angle for Ares. He shouldn't be giving it up. That could have been a triple lineup that he has, but he doesn't want to peek it because of all that damage in this knockup. Could get him completely caught out, and it does.
Unfortunate for him, and that gives InControl a little bit more pressure to keep going forward. And it's going to start paying off. Ice Monkey, though, gripped and ripped right down the middle. Rachao, credit for the kill, but Overpower brings that one to him. And that's going to slow down InControl just a little more. That might be exactly what they needed to make sure things maintain here. A minute left. 4 members of InControl still dancing around on the payload. No one on Carnage getting aggressive. So it's just waiting for Barrack to get back before they start the push again.
I mean, definitely no reason to get too far forward in this space. You surrender one of the best defensive points in the game, more or less. InControl can kind of abuse it if they manage to get Cassie over there to the far left, but they want to keep everyone in main. The Dome Shield coming up. Amadeus dodges it, but Ice Monkey just tanks it right to the chin.
I mean, sometimes you gotta take him, and it looks like he's gonna take it with stride. The healing enough to keep him going. Shoutouts to Corvus. Everything's looking good here for InControl. 3 kills and the conversion. Full-on wipe there at the end for Carnage Gaming. A 2-0. And, well, 6-2-4, 4-1-5. You can talk about Kaiser. You can talk about Mika. Either way, they're doing work. Rachao's been able to pull back a little bit, but the rest of Carnage Gaming maybe not keeping pace.
Yeah, I mean, Gervin is still high with the damage charts, even without any kills, though. So, for his sake, he is outputting what they need him to. I think just
doing his job.
Yeah, I think the fact that they were, I was gonna say holding on to the guillotine. I didn't even notice who Ares hit with that. He must have missed at the very end, which is real unfortunate because they're going to need that for this. And it can be free potentially into the Barrack, but not having that resource now means Barrack will be able to stand strong on the objective. His damage output should be enough to stay alive against this Khan. We'll see how much InControl try to eventually surround Scooter as well, but early they just hold on both sides, and the Vivian pressure already enough to force Khan off the point.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even have to worry about enveloping him. I guess you can just try to outright kill him from the beginning, and it's going to work out well for him. Scooter's about 1/3 HP, a little bit of healing here, a little bit of healing there, keeps him going. But King Kaiser has been a threat in conjunction with this Cassie. It's too much damage for one man to handle. 66% rising InControl. Still very much in control this time around. Very different from game number 1. Almost a full wipe, maybe a little bit staggered out there as they go ahead and grab this up 3-0. Kresnik, this might just be a really fast 4-0 if Carnage can't get everything put together.
Wasn't that exactly what you said? Sometimes in Brazil it's 4-0, 4-0, and then we go back and forth a bit, and that might be exactly what's happening with an Entropic Breach forcing the rest of them out. Ares doesn't use another cooldown, and Scooter just runs himself into 3 DPS waiting. Their InControl are just dominating after that turn, and this looks like a series that might just be determined on the draft screen.
We'll have to figure it out whether or not they can change things up and lock it down. Maps always depend on that one. Right now, though, minute 50 on the clock. Payload 2/3 of the way done. Damage looking good. Nice shot from Rachel. I almost thought that was Gervin. Unfortunately, he just wasn't able to connect it the same way as his teammate. Amadeus off the board. Corvus low, but not taken down. Ares coming around the corner. Nobody going to be in jeopardy here. Finally, you get a kill onto King Kaiser, but you lose your life for it if you're Ares. And I don't know, Kresnik, every trade technically favors Carnage Gaming because of their respawn proximity, but it feels like InControl are coming out ahead.
Yeah, it definitely always, I'd say, favors them, especially on this map where you can come up and flank the enemy team when you respawn, but Ares tries to do the flank and just does no damage and dies. Welcome to Corvus. He doesn't, none of that damage is going to stick, and they're forced to use the Heat Haze, but it's immediately countered out by the Scout.
Now we'll have to figure out if they can do anything. Good shots from Gervin, but it's not going to find the kill. There is finally the lockdown. Unfortunately, it's on the side, and that doesn't mean much. InControl walk that one forward as they control the payload, the point, the pressure, and now we're tied 1-1 in what felt like 12 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, that was a quick one on both sides. Honestly, InControl though, I think the way that they played their draft to just run down that Khan, as soon as they didn't have anyone watching all 4 or 5 angles you have to keep covered, that bottom area, King Kaiser pushes it, Khan thought he can retreat. Couldn't. Just walked out by a Vivian. No tank is going to live through that. Especially, I think when backed up by a Corvus, combine the lifesteal from the Corvus with the passive lifesteal on the Vivian, you can't possibly burn her down, especially when that shield cleanse is caught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll have to figure out, well, just a different approach, I think, for every team coming in. Khan, solo tank, not the answer, at least that I've seen. And so maybe that's something that you're going to have to change as time goes forward. Looking at what he was able to do damage-wise, 22k, so pretty low on that mark. Taken, 61,000 was almost always at the forefront, even with 34,000 shielding. That means he took about 90,000, sorry. Yeah. That fully enamored him. But it's the KD, I think, that maybe is going to showcase even more what happened for him. Unfortunately, when you're up against Barrack, the Vivian, the Cassie, everybody on InControl just hitting as hard as they did, it feels like it was unfortunate.
Yeah, 1-6 on the Khan, and a 7-1 and an 11-3 for the backlines on InControl. So tough for them to kind of duel into. I think they just got, I don't even want to, I was going to say outranged, but I don't think that was even what happened. I felt like they couldn't rely on having any pressure in the middle of the map, so the flanker on the side of InControl was just more enabled than Ares. Ares really struggling, 3-8. Much harder, I would say, to flank into Vivian and Cassie on the side of InControl.
And you can see, it's one of those weird things that 4-0s always kind of blow my mind because so few items get bought throughout the duration. So I'm like looking at it like, man, they only got 2 items, huh? And I mean, that really is what it is sometimes. Yeah. Unfortunately there for Carnage, they lose their massive advantage, and now we go into what is essentially just a best of 3. First one to get 2 wins for the rest of the day will be able to find themselves victorious going forward. But it is the pressure to do so that will mount on these teams, and whether or not they get to figure it out, we'll see as we move into map number 3.
Which is going to be Brightmarsh, actually, as I remember to give you vision on the screen that I have. Brightmarsh going to be the pick from Carnage as we are into the loser's pick section of the game. And they're definitely got to feel decent at least having that kind of 2-game, I guess, barrier. The buffer is the word I was thinking of that I could not come up with in the moment. They have a 2-game buffer, even though, like, if you're down 0-2 and then you only have the 1 loser's pick map, maybe you pick the wrong one and you go down 0-3, but 1-1, they can still potentially lose their pick, be able to go forward. And actually, Gore, it looks like for some reason Discord is screaming at me and I can't show you this, so I guess I will just be very vocal about these picks and bans as I pull that up and we can talk about what will be happening here on Brightmarsh. So Brightmarsh, very similar to Jag, and I think that might be why Carnage want to go there. I mean, they were able to take InControl down on Jag earlier, so I guess go to a similar map enough and go from there as Carnage sit here and wait to decide their first ban.
And that is going to be the strength. Brightmarsh, good. Bomb King, good. I like him here. But like we said, we're in Brazil. I'm even going to throw things out for you. I did this yesterday, but Willow, I think, can be prominent on this map. I think there's a few picks that you can find that are flavorful, but not in the meta that will work well for you. But it's up to them to figure that out, I guess, here in Brazil, because the meta is always different. So we'll have to see what they are willing to pick up. Of course, it's changed so drastically over years of play that it's always a little different. And it looks like that Vivian being first so far doesn't really scream to me any specific style of play.
Looks like hit scan focus from the side of Carnage. So Vivian and Andro both picked up by InControl last map. Just get rid of them. Don't want to have to deal with it this time. And
No,
Ash.
Hey, stop that.
Yeah, hey, no. Stop it. Slap it right out of their hands. Ash and Corvus for InControl. So InControl just ran Corvus. They say, hey, we know how good this champion is. We're not going to let you have it. So Carnage kind of have their pick of the litter for whatever they want. Genos still potentially available for them if they so choose. Shaolin, though, again, they recognize that it gave them a decent amount of damage. Even though it didn't find those kills, they got rid of what they thought was troubling it the most, that Vivian and that Androxus.
And now it's whether or not that was enough. I mean, we saw they did do a ton of work, but that Cassie was also putting in a lot. I think it was maybe off the back of that Vivian's damage, though. So ban that and get yourself your Shaolin once again. Comfort comes first. But I'm going to say, Kresnik, I might lose my mind if there's no Inara, no Bomb King, because I feel like both of those are just so good here. Maybe Terminus instead of Inara. Either way, it felt like there were still a lot of tanks better than the Khan last time.
Yeah, and a Barrack being picked up so early, I would say, for InControl, as it seems my Discord is actually not only stopped, but restarted, so you guys can't hear Goremizer, so I will go off on my own as my Discord restarts. Hopefully, Gore will notice. I think I did just reconnect.
Oh,
Barrack
no!
Yeah, you're back. No, it's okay. I let everybody know, Gore. Everybody knows that we had a random Discord refresh, which probably makes sense as to why I couldn't show you anything before. I'll bring up your screen feed again so you can join me here. And you actually can see them now, so hopefully you can join me on the bans. But Barrack and Cassie picked up by InControl, followed up, it looks like, by Inara Atlas. So InControl prioritizing Barrack over Inara on Brightmarsh. I really don't get it. I mean, I get Barrack won them the last game. That was against a Khan, though, on a team that I think won the other sides of the map.
That's where things fall apart for me, right? Barrack over Inara, over Terminus even, is a little curious to me. I know a couple people have maybe pointed out that Barrack isn't at the end of his rope. He still does work out well sometimes. And, well, he just won a game, so I can't continue saying bad things about him. But I'm going to continue saying bad things about him. He's just not as good as the rest of them. So I think Inara, Grover, the Atlas maybe throws a little couple of question marks in there. But Maeve, we've seen Ares is phenomenal at. And Shaolin there was good for Carnage last time. It's just how well this Cassie and Victor can bounce them off.
Yeah, and it's another no hit scan game against this Barrack. So potential there, not having the head kind of be a deficit he has to play into. But it is triple DPS against double tank. And it's a very defensive double tank composition from the side of Carnage. Inara, Atlas both sit still. They want to control space. Grover's going to be poking. Shaolin's going to be poking. The only one who's really diving in on these kills is Maeve. Doing that into a Cassie Victor Zin is a tall task, I would say, for that Maeve to actually get away with.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult now. I don't know. Moving forward, that draft just feels solid for Carnage. But again, it's always one of those things. A small slip is what it takes from a good draft to take things away. This is the one, though, where it doesn't necessarily feel like one team wins in their picks and bans, which is something that was kind of there for games 1 and 2. So a little bit more pressure on to Carnage to maybe make this one work in their favor. They are, in my mind, the favored team of these two, but InControl has always been right behind them. So we'll have to see as to who can win this. And once again, I'll throw it out there for those in chat. There's a poll for you to vote on as to who you think is going to win.
And you can vote there for any reason.
I think, yeah, you know what? You can say, hey, I hate Barrick. I'm going to go ahead and vote Carnage. You can say, hey, I don't like that Gore keeps saying Carnage is doing a little bit better in the draft. I'm going to vote over there for InControl. Whatever your reasoning, you can tell us who you think is going to win. Either way, we'll take the numbers and tell them to you, I guess.
And I want to see Big Shield again for Xiao. On the side of Carnage again. Still not a fan of Big Shield, but I will say for an off tank, it's definitely a lot better. When you don't necessarily need that sustain as much, control can be just as important, especially against a team that's in control as much as InControl. Haha, that's my one of the day. Gervin here on the far left side, gonna see as much space, how much space he can kind of get away with taking. But a very passive look from InControl, a team, I don't know if they want to give up ground against Carnage because they're not really a comp that looks like they can push, and Ice Monkey just dies immediately.
Now, that is something that you're going to feel a lot as Barrick if you've played him since his nerfs. Unfortunately, that's just the position he's in. Healing from Aldama, trying to do whatever they can, but Mika wake up on Amadeus, both taken down there. Aggression looking good for Gervin. Kind of surprised to not see Gervin reprise the Shaolin and instead now on the Maeve. Especially considering we have seen Ares play this Maeve at the highest of high levels on the world stage and do well with it. So kind of different. It's just different than what I expected. But hey, it's 90%. It's working well for him now. Barrett, Ice Monkey going to move in, touch the point, 96-30. They get a little bit of control here as they kill off for Chow.
Well, see, actually, look at this rotation of Pit by the Shaolin. This is actually huge, but he backs up from it. The kill goes on to Scooter, so I think he might have been trying to recontest. If they lose another, the retake ends up being exactly what they need. Gourd plus shield won in that fight. They don't really have any high mobility to touch that objective, unless Rochelle can get by unseen, but that's not going to happen against this comp, I feel. Shield will tilt it towards the point, might get him in, but they don't spite in the way. But wait, Scooter! He mounted in, but he's in front of a lot of damage.
That's going to be good for him. Kaiser, though, trying to get the kill, not able to. Amadeus, Ice Monkey, looking to burn down the rest of the team. Carnage couldn't hold on to what they grabbed. 90% and higher isn't enough. Got to get that 100, and unfortunately for them, InControl are the ones to find it first. A good retake, and then just a good bounce back. Scooter, like he said, took too much damage trying to get back in there. And now, unfortunately, they're going to be down 1-0. This payload's moving pretty fast as well.
And we'll see. They're going to stop them, though, with this early pick. Gervin right now, I think he's been doing fantastic on this map. His only real death was in kind of that desperate end of the game situation, but it seems I've cursed him. But his presence, enough to push back on Amadeus. The Red Serpent actually doesn't connect on him, and they can keep going with these ults being effectively wasted.
Ares is able to get one kill. Rachao goes down. Good angle for Gervin, hanging out up on top. But, I mean, to burn down a minute and a half, kick back, relax for a little bit right now if you're anyone that is not Carnage Gaming. Unfortunately for Carnage, they maybe relaxed too much there, maybe got too aggressive, and end up not being able to do what they wanted to as well. So now they're in a position, respawning. I realize as I lean far away from my mic, they're going to have to defend here very carefully.
They have potential to go around the outside with Maeve, but it will be kind of obvious, I think. Cooldowns will have to be used, which means audio cues that InControl can play off of, knowing that the Maeve is effectively out of the fight. But look at this, they're already taking this ground down. Perfect shield actually will stop Amadeus from playing this angle, and they have a lot of poke in there as well, but not so much pressure made out of it. Ice Monkey tried to dive in Dome Shield and just got sand trapped in the middle of the dash.
Well, Ares being able to make sure he finds the last hit on that one. Mika, once again on this Cassie, looked good last time, should look good again, but it's going to be difficult when you have this much damage output coming from the other side. Good boards keeping everybody healed up, but it's for Chow. Ares picking up a couple of kills. Ares, maybe the notable one. The Bow Bros that used to be great on a team together, split apart by Ares' kill. What a beautiful double kill as well from him, looking to get aggressive. Triple kill as he chases it down, looking for a fourth. One more shot's all it's going to take, and that's the Quadra. He's going to continue chasing them down, but maybe that's too much. Mika gonna shut the Penta down in its spot. But still, a Quadra is going to be a good defense from Carnage Gaming.
Yeah, there's no way they can make it back to the point now unless they really just give themselves away. But wait a minute, hold the phone. Amadeus, he's running into the back. We might see a 1v1 here. Ares into him, but he doesn't know where he is. The early sand trap, but saved by the shield. And somehow, in spite of everything, they managed to get back to this objective, keep it contested, and they're staggering people in the backline, but Scooter's still on them. They can't come to help, and this fight is looking desperate, potentially by the objective.
Well, they're gonna hold on to it, moving it forward. Ice Monkey just walking it in. Dome Shield not eaten up, died just before it could technically count that as his ult, even though he tried his best. Still gonna get shut down. Ares did everything in his power to make sure that didn't happen, didn't go into overtime, and still InControl were able to keep it there for a little bit. Well played, good Quadra, almost Penta, save for Mika's return kill. That one felt as close as this set really should be.
Yeah, it was as close as this set has been so far, and hopefully we see more of that going on as we head further in. I thought Ares was doing way more on this shot damage-wise. I mean, he's doing fantastic in the frag department, but being 5th damage in a game with 5 damages, definitely tough, especially with how close he is to his Inara. But Scooter's been playing great, trading damage into these DPS, into these tanks. Not surprised to see him so high up there. Look at the Barrack loadout. You don't want to shoot his turrets, so he'll more to sustain, but he beats Inara to the point, and a lot of damage into her early, but for Xiao's the one he finds the first pick on the flank.
Still has that Dome Shield, which is worth noting, but 5 ults still strong for Carnage Gaming. Whether they can find the follow-up is the question. Mika's so low. Atlas looking to come around the corner, will find the kill there for Xiao. Dome Shield forced with the retreat there from the Barrack. That's going to be great for them. Unfortunate placement, but it's only going to keep them alive for so long, and that's exactly what comes through. Great for Carnage Gaming, terrible for InControl. They lose their control at this point, and it seems like what happened last round is actually playing back in reverse. InControl start with control and then lose everything in the process. Kaiser gets the touch. Overtime's going to be there. You're just a lonely Zen. You can survive forever, but even you will have to die sometime and give up. And unfortunately, that means the point goes in favor of Carnage. Also,
these snakes are terrifying from Max, by the way. Can I just mention that? I feel like I'm just in a VR horror game having these things fly past me when I'm watching Gervin's POV, because they are just constantly coming in from him. Zombi, I think, showing his value in general right now to stop this pressure from them and sometimes stun the tanks. But look at this, Xiao is so deep. He's just running him down, misses the setback, but Scooter follows up on the kill.
Well, we're waiting still for those poll results to come in. There's about 25% of the timer still left. And so we got lucky, Kresnik, that this was not a 6-minute 4-0 stomp, because otherwise we'd still be waiting. But either way, we'll figure out what comes forward with that one as it comes through. F's in chat to pay respects to Cora. We love her no matter what. Either way, it's up to Carnage right now to try and showcase that they love Cora as well by slowing the game down a little bit. Don't win too soon. We need to know what the chat fully thinks. There he is going to get a kill there. This payload finally going to stall out. A minute and 20, but on Brightmarsh, that's a lot of time. So still a lot to work with. Unfortunate grenade there from Amadeus, so maybe not going to slow down Carnage as much as they want. But Atlas and Nara is going to be difficult to displace.
I mean, the shield is big, but they don't really get too much out of it outside of a good triple arrow. The health is rough, but a perfect whirlwind from Crimson actually keeps them going. The guillotine, or the spite specifically on the side, doesn't connect on anybody. A lot of damage coming in right now, but everyone, even being low, is still alive. But finally, InControl finishes off some of the kills.
That's going to be 3 big ones that come through, looking like a 4th. And Grover Crimson just far enough away that it's not going to make a difference for him, but still hunted down and slaughtered like the rest of his clan here. Sounds like a line out of an anime. Yeah, it got really dark, really fast there for Carnage Gaming.
The Sharingan the next fight.
They're the ones who want to bring the Carnage, and now they're going to do so. Jeez, Mika erased like it was nothing. So now we'll figure out if they have what it takes. 20 seconds left at least to get overtime. Goggles up, bombs down. Not enough to get a kill though from Amadeus. Not going to be able to find anything there. Damage follow-up not going to be available either. Exiles looking to come through. Rachel ignores Barrick. Looks for the backline, only finds 2, loses his life alongside Gervin. That dome shield comes out as well, and it looks like InControl are trying to make a last stand here and make sure this one stays 2-2. And finally, Kresnik, I'm going to hold on to this one a little bit longer because the poll results are going to be coming in so here as we go into round 3. 52% of chat are leaning towards InControl this time around, and so far
it's torn.
That's about where I expected. I mean, it's 2-2, so they voted appropriately.
Yeah, I mean, this chat polls are as close as this set's been, honestly, so far, keeping it kind of even across the board. I want to look at the healing threats really quick, because this Grover, okay, yeah, this is only 2-2, and Grover already has 132,000 healing. 30k more than the Damba, who has that pocket potential, and yeah, has the barracks potentially pocket, but double 2 tanks on the side of the Grover, I think it does make sense. Grover will get a little bit boosted heals that way, plus he is always healing as opposed to Damba, who has to go out of his way to do it, minus maybe getting lucky with some gourds. I want InControl to stop Carnage from taking the left side, but it looks like they're just not going to do it. When they set up for Rashao, when they get this aggressive shield, it's so much better, and look at this. They just keep it going. So much poke up top, it was weak immediately.
And, well, high smoking shortly thereafter. That's a lot of the point control that disappears. And this kind of flank from Rashao. Good Dread Serpent. Tries to turn that one around, but it's not going to be able to find the kill. Misses the setback, but it doesn't matter. Look how aggressive Carnage Gaming are here. They lose their lives for it, so they maybe bite off more than they can chew, but they buy a lot of time in the process. 72% looks like it might teeter out here in the 90s, depending on if InControl can get in there. That's a big if. Barrack's too low to go in and touch. They have to rely on somebody else. Wall on cooldown. Get rid of the Zen. Get rid of a lot else. And now a seismic crack for some stuns. The kills come up. Carnage, they're going to walk away with the lead here. And the potential end in this point. Once they finally get it, wait for overtime to disappear.
The tank main in me was just salivating as soon as I saw the 4 stack from InControl. That was such a huge seismic crash lineup that they gave them because of how crazy it gets in those desperate last-second moments. And Carnage, another mid-fight win for them, I think. They really got to stop giving up this ground, but their double backline comp with the Zen able to dive in, it's so good for these defenses that probably going to stall out Carnage again, already losing 2 DPS on their side.
That's a good start for him. Again, you don't need maybe a lot of time on Brightmarsh, but some time is nice and some progress is nice for you. So Carnage, I mean, maybe this time not able to kick back. InControl may be able to kick back a little bit. They popped themselves a little bit of room. 91% on that dome shield. Hasn't made some big differences just yet. I guess did technically help save the round last time, so it's been applicable. We'll have to see if it gets used this time for the same reason.
Look at that cripple arrow too. Barrack can't run away. That's his main sustain tool too, so a lot of damage coming in. Shot can't chase because of the failsafe. Ares is so deep right now, but he's missing all his cooldowns, and King Kaiser's just in his back, destroying the rest of his team.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate position to find yourself in if you're Carnage. Now, just one last person standing nearby from Carnage Gaming to get burned down. Then not going to be able to get that kill off the dash. But it doesn't matter. Scooter was going to jump to his doom anyway. Leap to his doom, even, if you've watched the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie from way, way, way back then.
I wish I could riff on that with you, Gore, but I have no idea what you're talking. I think I've seen it, but I think I was so young to remember it. I wish I could help you, and I think Carnage wish they had a little more help right now to push this cart because Gervin falls again.
I am an adult, and I still watch it more than I probably should. Either way, Gervin goes down here. 40 seconds left. Scooter still in position, gets a kill. Rachao as well. Ares, though, goes down, so that's both of the damage carries. Way for Carnage Gaming. It's up to these front lines to try and make a little more work. But can they find what they need? Seismic Crash coming up. Exiles available for Rachao. Unfortunately, life not available for Rachao. 20 seconds left to try and make something out of this. Feels like they're falling back, and it feels like Carnage Gaming are watching it maybe slip away here. Looking at potentially a 3-3 Brightmarsh on our hands. We're waiting up to heal up here. We'll be able to move in for overtime. Holding on to it in overtime, Kresnik. That is the hard part. Looking for the shots. have Seismic Crash available. It's whether or not they can lock them down. Dome Shield's going to be used. Throwing the Seismic Crash right into it. Dread Serpent in retaliation. It's all deciding to pop off now. They do not care what is used if it can get them the win. Carnage Gaming are still marching it forward, but they lose one member in the process. 3 lost on the side of InControl, though. No one left to try and hold on to it outside of King Kaiser. He's a little too far, forced to use his life, throw it away to try and stop that one. Carnage Gaming walk it in the end.
That's a bold decision to make, and not every team is really expecting that to happen, and I think it really caught InControl off guard. Them just spending everything and running them down, and the Barrack did a great job blocking off multiple sightlines. The Dome up front, even though maybe that was because Scooter used his Seismic Crash a little bit too early. They had the shield in the window, so all these sightlines were blocked, but they had the health to just run in on the sides. They had people coming in from behind the shield. They had people running in down main once that Dome Shield expired, and they just got completely overwhelmed with the wealth of ultimates that they were willing to spend to actually cap that objective.
Now they'll have to change things up. I mean, you lose that one 3-2, 4-2. Math, hard, apparently. But it comes forward now, the 2-1 advantage for Carnage. They're a team that has kind of been favored overall. 2 quick 4-0s at the very beginning of the day. That one maybe sits with you a little bit harder. You put a lot of effort into that if you're InControl. So, trying to bounce back, even though it is loser's pick, is going to be difficult for you. And trying to find a map that's not Brightmarsh maybe won't be easy to bounce back from, but there's still plenty in the pool. Amadeus and a lot of InControl did the damage numbers they needed. I mean, look at that, 2 over 100,000.
Yeah.
It's just the kill conversion that didn't quite go their way.
But that's what happens when you're playing into double tank, right? I mean, your damage numbers are going to be inflated. The kills were just being evenly traded back and forth. I think Rashad did a great job enabling these kills with his shield, and I think InControl, if they had played a little more forward on the map on the mids, would have been a different story. I think just being able to see Rashad push up and aggressively place that temporal divide is what makes people want to play the Atlas. When you can actually get that big shield in their face and take the entire map control just for yourselves with no one contesting you, that's when you're going to make the most out of it. And InControl kind of gave it to them, and I think from here on out, InControl, if they give up that Atlas again, they're not going to make that same mistake. I feel they're not going to kind of sit back and let them walk all over them the same way they just did.
And it's definitely going to be difficult. Of course, I'm going to be honest. We aren't told to plug this, but every time we go towards the screen, one of the things I get to see is any of these stellar skins that were added in this last one, whether it's Stellar Sentinel, Stellar Sorceress, Stellar Protector, etc.
Only you can see that, Gore, by the way. Everyone
yeah,
else
I know how only I can. Everyone, you should know the Radiant Stars update and the skins it brought in. All fantastic. And at this point, I guess if you haven't been grinding it, I guess you don't want them. But come on, they look fantastic. Either way.
Hey, Gore, actually, what kind of chair are you sitting in right now?
What kind of chair am I sitting in? That's a good question, Kresnik. I'm gonna cover the name because this is a Paladins broadcast, but you might know. If you follow Dave on Twitter, you'll see more.
And you should all follow Dave on Twitter.
Should never have to deal with.
You should see his new dog. It's very cute.
You should see my dogs. My wife just took them outside, so you can't see them right now. But they're great dogs.
That is disaster timing. That could not have been the one time we could have framed the two of them.
And both of them to come up. Well, they both are gone right now. It's like they're not in here. And if there's always one in the living room with me. So unfortunately for chat, you're not going to see him. I get to see him all the time. I have pictures on my phone. I'm not going to show you that though. So you can go follow me.
You never know what you could accidentally swipe to, but
Instagram.
We'll head to picks and bans on here for this game. Game 4, InControl have chosen Stone Keep. So we're kind of keeping things standard here. I mean, we did ban a couple weird maps, I would say, across the board for this, but Stone Keep is more standard. Some high ground control, maybe some low ground control if you want to play poke. A lot of options available for them on the side of InControl, and we'll see the first ban come in for them. I wouldn't expect them to deviate too much, and they won't with Ash going first.
Yeah, I think what we're probably going to end up seeing is maybe a continuation. Hit scan was pretty big. They took that away from Carnage, and well, guess what? It worked out pretty well. Or I'm sorry, from InControl, it worked out pretty well for you. So I think that's going to be something that's easy for them going forward. Stone Keep being the map. I think Vivian, Victor, Strix, Canessa, etc., all these hit scans still pretty solid all around. So we'll have to see if they can continue that route.
And Definitely going to get rid of them on the side of Carnage, though, with Vivian getting taken out. And InControl, I guess, if they can figure out how to play against it, they're just going to remove it from the game. Take Atlas out and don't have to figure it out.
Probably one of my favorite choices, and something I wish teams played with a little bit more. Sometimes if there's a god that's just beating you, Io, cough, cough, you just got to get rid of it, you know? Like, sometimes you're just like, you know what? It might be detrimental to us. Maybe some power pick is going to come through on the other side. But you know what? I don't want you to just outright win. Unfortunately, Inara, she's been doing pretty well so far today. Carnage, get that, along with the Shaolin that's been treating them well these last 2 games. And even though one of them was a 4-0, that last game definitely started to hit the mark. Ares picking that one up, maybe running it again here in game number 4.
Wouldn't be shocked to see it going to Ares again. He played well with it last game. I think they're going to have some more options here, potentially Cassie for the Scout to counter out the Heat Haze. And Buck to just face tank it, I guess. Just land on him, bulk up in his face, absorb that rapid shot, not need the cripple once you've already landed. You don't really have a second mobility on the side of Buck, so maybe a little bit less utility out of that sand trap.
Well, that's the question we'll see, is whether or not Shaolin can make it work. It's been a while since we've seen a Buck come through. It feels like very Brazil to pick him up as of late. So we'll have to see if that does stand, well, true to what we have seen. Tyra coming through, they got to pick up a tank, surely. And, well, they've been going 1 the entire time. I saw you typing his name in. Barrick that comes through. Maybe a little risky here. I mean, Tyra, Buck, Barrick has some good matchups and some bad matchups compared to what Carnage picked up here.
They do have a hard character to dive, though. I think this Tyra, they're just going to use her to either control the point or play her as this counter dive kind of poke style. I think you can actually play all of Tyra's talents, so I want to see where they decide to go with it. I still personally think Mercy Kill is the strongest, but I think you can find use out of all 3 depending on the matchups that you have to play into. Mercy Kill for the dives, Burn Monster for the tanks, specifically in Nando if you want to get some more damage there, and Hunting Party if you have this super aggressive dive comp, which they don't really have unless this Barrick and this Buck just want to go in.
We'll have to see if they do decide to just go in or if things are going to be a little different for them. So move into game number 4. Gervin back on the Shaolin. Ares this time on the Xin.
Interesting.
And we got the God of War himself, Fernando. One of the very few times you could have maybe popped an Ares in there for people, and it would have been applicable to the skin that's coming through for Carnage Gaming here as they grab the Inara and the Fernando. This is where things get a little shaky for me. Barrick, Fortify, good. But Scooter, Rachel, this game, I think, going to be a little bit better.
Yeah, I think the double tank line definitely going to help into the Barrick, but the triple DPS can work. I mean, if they get surrounded, this is a map where you can do pretty much anything. And having Nando Aegis off tank means they're going to be light on damage. If Nando's just shielding for the Shaolin, that's basically applying so much pressure to the Sha that he could follow up on, but you're still kind of saying, hey man, can you carry this game for us? Thank you. Interesting build by him, though. With Poise 3, a card that gives you, I think, about 2% movement speed per level, when instead you could run Wanderlust for 3% movement speed per level, but some people dislike how it feels and want to buy Nimble themselves later. Higher ground control already, though. Early for Carnage Gaming. Again, Sha with the Nando, just like I thought, keeping him protected, and already bullying out both backline DPS. Rashao just isn't stopping. Finally, he does, and just gives Gervin a great sideline.
And I really love this angle, too, because you can, well, peek down over there. Ares first to fall, though. The damage from Gervin is not enough to lock down King Kaiser all the way. Rachel going to have to play more protector now. Maybe take over the role Gervin was trying to play here. They're losing everybody in this fight, save for their Fernando.
I mean, that's how Fernando does, right? He'll be the last one alive because he has that 4-second shield. Rachel, though, yeah, he knows. He put up his shield and then immediately said, oh, I'm going to stagger myself for another, like, 10 seconds. Puts it down. And InControl, Barrick was on the point the whole time, got completely ignored. They got that cap time, and they start up 1-0 on Stone and are already looking to get aggression here into the last area.
Not the way I expected this draft to roll out. We're already at a little bit of a difference. And once again, I'm going to highlight it every time it happens because I want people to vote in it. There's a poll in chat for you to go ahead and tell us who you think will win. This time we'll see if the game ends maybe a little quicker than the poll. Depends on if InControl can keep up this pace. Chow melted down right there. No one contesting it. Payload still moving forward. Good kills for the blue side, making sure things come up for them here in the realm.
I think this Tyra actually, now that I think about it, is more of a counter pick to the Shaw. Every time, see, look, they keep marking him, which means his stealth, his withdraw doesn't do anything. And
yeah.
How does he run away? He just gets burnt down, and they're just keeping the snowball rolling on the side of InControl.
Keeping it old school. That was a meta that propped up a little bit last year when Shaolin was prominent, and Tyra escalated onto the field, and now bringing it back. Good homework, good methodology from InControl to pick that up, and now the kills are coming up their way. Rachel, last one standing. Dread Serpent gonna come through for the defense, but it's not gonna be enough to get rid of Ice Monkey. Mika goes down in the back line. That's gonna be a good kill for them. Tank's still alive. They're still trying to push her forward, but hitting some tasty headshots as they're trying to get rid of this Inara, rid of this Fernando. The Immortal even coming out as Ice Monkey somehow still alive there on the objective. Finally, with Corvus pushed off, I expect to see that Barrett go down soon. Nope. Instead, they just retreat together. That's going to be good for them. InControl get rid of Crimson. I expect to see him move right back in.
Yeah, he gets the Dome Shield down, but the Inara doesn't stay committed in the Dome Shield. She could have killed him immediately, but the Dome gives him a full reheal. And Amadeus finds Rochelle as well. No tanks left means InControl push that in, and they'll find the follow-up kill in Ares to get a couple more credits in their pocket. InControl just never let up. They just backed up. Look at this Tyra's damage. King Kaiser, 42k above.
That's a lot of numbers.
Amadeus's Buck. Buck was picked almost every game in Brazil in the past. In the last phase, we saw him all the time. Now he's kind of in and out, but every time we see him, I feel like he just dominates the game. Kaiser, Amadeus is just following up on all this damage that Kaiser's doing, and they can't really punish him at all on the side of Carnage.
Like you said, one death there in total for InControl, and Ares able to get the credit for that kill. Maybe change what the entire pace. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 deaths.
2 deaths.
Bad math. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 3 is 5. Whatever. Either way, it comes through. I slowed down way too much for 2 + 3 there, by the way.
Also,
that
was
was
way too close to your microphone, Gore. That was some Gore SMR we had for SM Gore. It would have been way funnier. I already missed the opportunity. Hopefully,
you know what? We're both
to have the point.
That's going to be Ares going for the ult early on. Not enough to lock anyone down here. It's going to be the damage on the Ice Monkey. Finding a little bit of wiggle room, but not enough to turn things around in their favor. Carnage Gaming still at a deficit, though. 42% here for InControl. They capture this one. They could be looking to push us to game numero 5 for it all. I wish I knew that Portuguese better match the Brazilian language. Right away, Gervin goes down. Seems like Ares might follow. Finds himself a return kill with the help of Scooter. But it's still 63-7. Definitely in favor of InControl.
Look at how point focused they are, though. They lose their barracks, so Amadeus just walks onto the one behind them and says, hey, look, I know I can get away. I'll make sure you don't get any extra cap time and not let you abuse that comeback mechanic. And Chop and Breach on point as well to follow up on it, and the percent health shred plus the headshots just deletes an arm.
Kresnik, I'm going to be honest. I want to finish the play-by-play, but I think I said numero uno when I meant numero cinco. Either way, it's going to be
numero 5, actually.
Numero 5, even worse. Wow, I am. That's the kind of human I am, I guess. At least today, InControl, 99%, still holding on to this one. Immortal gonna come out from the Fernando. Good shots. That are going to be able to trace Crimson. Still alive. Cassie looking for the final shot, but it's gonna be Souza instead who finds the last hit. Crimson now taken out of the equation. Means these tanks are easier to kill off for Chow. Ares going to go down, and Nara, last one standing. It's not gonna be enough for that. 3 points tick up here for InControl. Looking to try and make it a 4-0.
Might be able to. Honestly, they're still kind of a brick on the gas pedal here as they keep pressure up, but they don't have anyone up top like they did last time, so Ares jumping his POV as he's able to poke down. But look, immediately he gets marked, so he rotates. He's willing to give up that space. They retake it now with high mobility, and Scooter alone trying to fight this, taking an overwhelming amount of damage early.
That's going to be good shots. Already the high ground in favor of one side. King Kaiser's not going to get taken down that easily by one measly seismic crash. So that's going to be good return. Seems like chat voted appropriately. InControl up 3-0, 68% leaning that way. Although at this point, if you were putting in your votes last second, definitely think you might have known what was going to happen here. They're marching it forward. 1:40 left. Carnage locked in their base currently, but able to go wild any moment now, along with a dome shield. These are looking dangerous for Carnage.
Yeah, if they can get the dome shield in and not get punished like they almost did last time with Scooter's aggression, able to actually just convert this right now. Cart does get closer, and Tropic Breach coming in. This could be an engagement. It goes, looks like a little bit near the barracks, so they can't dive him. I love that combination. The Dread Serpent, though, punishes any follow-up.
Well, good shots down to the ground. Gervin will find it. Missed a couple there. It was, at the end of the day, able to find the last hit they needed. Half health for Rachao, and finally full health there for Ares, but nobody else going to get too low here. Carnage heal right back up to full. No ground lost. Ice Monkey still hanging out just below the archway. King Kaiser has Crossfire again. Wow. So now they're going to be able to come forward. Pops it. Doesn't find anybody immediately. Looking for some of the kills. Long range kill onto Gervin there. Thought he would melt through the tanks. Instead, gets rid of the Cha-Lin. Now it's Buck on the other side going in, working in tandem with King Kaiser to make sure they eliminate not one, not two, but three of these champions so far. Looking for a fourth one in the back line. It's King Kaiser. Now Buck just playing bodyguard, making sure this payload moves forward, and it looks like InControl potentially able to seal the deal. Immortal comes out to try and save the day. 15 seconds left, but Gervin goes down one last time. Low health bar here for the Nando. It is going to be InControl, walking it forward unless someone can make a miracle play. Seismic Crash doing everything they can, but Scooter, there's only so much you can do when you're left by yourself, and unfortunately, it's not turned things around in their favor. InControl push us to game 5.
Wow, I mean, their drive just dominated. Honestly, what they brought on the other side, I think that Tyra was a perfect foil to what they wanted to do. Ares tries to dive, and mercy kill. You're not killing me. I have so much damage reduction. I have so much burst damage to beat you out there. If the Cha-Lin wants to make a play with Heat Haze, we have Scout, we have the Mark. There's just nothing that Sha or Buck could really do the entire time. They just were countered out by the DPS that InControl drafted.
It's wonderfully played by them, and like you said, maybe too much there for Carnage Gaming to handle. So now you're in the awkward position to figure out what you want to do going into game 5. A lot of pressure on them. Of course, we'll have to look at the numbers to see what exactly was going forward, and that is going to be what we take a peek at here.
Low damage on Rachao, but I don't think that's surprising. Shielding all game as a Nando, but low damage across the board for them in general. King Kaiser stayed astronomically high, too. 92,000 compared to Mika's 68. And I thought Mika was owning. I mean, Mika was just all over the map, connecting anything I saw. I felt like Duel sometimes. At one point, Ares tried to spite away and got hit mid-air, mid-spite by Mika. Just all those shots connecting and still that far behind what that Tyra was able to do.
That's going to be rough, I think. I mean, Tyra came through, was really good against Gervin there. Damage numbers, 92,000 kind of runs away with the show. Does a lot of what you wanted there for King Kaiser. 12, 2, and 15. I'll continue to say it. Does a lot of what you wanted there from King Kaiser. 7, 3, and 13 for Amadeus. And then Undying, Max Souza, 3-0 and 22. Great job from the support to make sure things keep going smooth for the crew. Unfortunately, 3 and 8, 1 and 8, 1 and 8 for both tanks actually there on Carnage. So maybe not what they wanted coming forward into this. So now, as we go to game number 5, that's the question as to what will change for Carnage Gaming, because it is, I don't know, a lot of pressure now. I think you come into this swinging 4-0 Kresnik, and now you're looking at a game 5. You're sweating a little bit.
And it looks like Carnage, they want to go to Shattered here for the final map. So, I mean, it's a map that SSG wasn't that bad at in the past, having Ares and Rachao on this team. Gervin as a ringer sub-in for them sometimes in the past. So they have that connection with that. Maybe it's a map they think they can be successful on, but it's still Shattered. I mean, you don't know what could happen on it. You could just get out-drafted, outranged, and not really have a chance to turn it around.
You could pick this map and then accidental yourself into getting 4-0'd one last time, right? Like, it is unfortunate what could happen for you. And so Carnage maybe going to be under, well, duress as they come forward here. But all that matters is trying to figure out if InControl can keep this one going in their favor, keep that momentum up, or if Carnage are going to do what just happened to them in 4-0, as is one to do here in Brazil.
Yeah, and we'll go into the draft now. We'll see Carnage giving themselves first pick on the final map of this set, as it is their map choice here on Shattered Desert. And some things change, but some things stay the same. Vivian taken out of the picture. Don't want that hit scan. Even on a map that's more kind of giving to the ranged characters, still want to get rid of it. And InControl do the same. They get rid of that Ashe. Don't want to let her cross that gap, because this is a map where she can really pop off, especially with Slugshot.
Yes, and this is one of the maps I think Ashe, as a general in terms of tank ability and anything she can run, looks good. But I think this is a good call to get rid of her. This is a map that she is very prominent on, so good call from InControl. And the Atlas, I think, as well, after what Carnage did on Brightmarsh, still just kind of fits. It was a lot of flanking coming from that Atlas, and so go to Shattered Desert. Flanks are expected. Get rid of what they were being very prominent with before. But Shaolin banned away from Carnage. Maybe it makes me wonder what they're going to try and pick up that he would be a problem for.
I mean, I find it weird that they wouldn't just first pick it, though. Like, why not ban Corvus first pick Shaw, right? If you really want to just deny them the Corvus, they're giving up. I mean, they would give up Genos without a pocket support to answer, but there's other supports you can play. Grover, Furia, Damba. There's a lot of options they could have still taken.
And I was thinking, even if you're worried about the Tyra, you ban Tyra, pick Shaw. Like you're still happy at the end of the day. So maybe just a weird shuffle for them. We'll figure it out as the game goes on, though, because Inara Cassie locked in. Mika's had a great couple of games. More than likely going back to this Cassie would be phenomenal for him. But Maeve Rom,
aggressive.
That's a good-looking draft right now for Carnage. Depending on what they decide to finalize it with, there's some interesting picks that they could definitely take this draft home.
Yeah, very aggressive for them. Corvus will support, I think, the flanker that they have to go in with that potentially. A lot of dive. They could even do Soul Tank Rom and just go in at this point. Like, that could just be the follow-up that they have. Answer from InControl. Cassie can get big game, and Damba can stun the Rom, so they have a couple ways to stop that Rom potentially from coming in. And the Talons can just ignore him and rush that Corvus down. But if the Corvus has someone to protect him, they might not be able to actually get that kill.
That's going to be... Well, the question and answered. Khan will be there to protect him. I would assume it'd be Khan. Maybe Rom does go over there. He's got a big body that he can throw in front. And the Strix as well. Shattered Desert is a Bazaar map for Bazaar things, so I can't say much about Carnage except that I think on literally any other map they would find themselves in an unfortunate position. This time around, though, I think this is going to actually end up paying off for them just because the way this map tends to work out. So now we'll have to see if they can keep the rotations up or if the pressure will get to them. Because Buck on the other side, Talus on the other side, a lot of damage shred and potential here for InControl.
Yeah, agreed. There's a lot of potential out of InControl, but can they make it actually work? They could just get run down by this Maeve and Maeve and Rom, and not really have an answer to it. But they also have Buck and Talus, and if this Buck and Talus just disregard the dive and kill that Strix, I don't know what Carnage can do. I feel like there's either team who, whatever's flank works better, just wins the game because they're going to leave them kind of isolated.
Well, now we're getting into the fray. We'll have to see if anything stands out overall for this. Enforcer picked up there for Scooter.
Unauthorized use.
Nothing too surprising, except, that unauthorized use may be a little off the mark from what you typically see
these days.
But at the same time, I feel like it might work on Shattered just because of the way the map, just is, the way it plays.
Yeah, and they can... Maybe it's just to survive the dive, but Nocturnal sometimes is better for that, but I guess that does get countered by Illuminate, and you can see this specific kind of build for unauthorized use with the Dexterous 5 if keep himself alive, and they're definitely looking to dive. Scooter didn't go right to the objective. He's just mounting in circles, trying to find who he wants to go for, but he's already big gamed, already hit for 1,000. The follow-up shots don't hit. Scooter might actually be able to engage this dive early, but they're just waiting. They're just letting themselves get pressure.
That's the aggression from Scooter, getting a little bit of pressure on the side. It's InControl at 48%, though. Trying to fight back. It doesn't seem like it's working well for Carnage Gaming. Ares gets one, goes down himself, though. Traded just like that. Now the aggression seems to be coming their way. Finally, someone gets rid of Ice and Gervin. Credit for the kill. 66%. And yeah, like you said, ult already there. Flashbang thrown out. A lot of good damage, good kills from Gervin. Only a 2-streak so far. So it's just perplexing what he was able to do to get it that fast.
Roost 4, he is running that. I just expected more kills to come out, but he's getting 15 ult charge a shot effectively with that card. stalemate for them is working. They're stalemating here by the point, but Ares just flanks around the side, takes down one flanker, takes down the second when he tries to actually engage.
Once again, Ice Monkey was on the point. Not for long, though. I say it, and I speak his death into existence. That is a full-on wipe. Talus technically respawning beforehand. They took everyone out around that point. Carnage Gaming should be able to convert this one. Ding, ding, ding to a point number 1 on Shattered Desert. Now, pushing forward for the payload. We've seen this map go 3-3. We've seen this map go 4-0. It can fit anywhere and everywhere. 2 flanks, though, tends to look good on defense. We'll have to see if King Kaiser and this Buck can come together to make sure it slows down Carnage Gaming.
You see that peel from that ultimate that they had there? Actually, wait a minute, hold on. Look at the back line right now. Scooter goes back, but they trade. Even with the Cataclysm being spent, they lose 2, and Amadeus wants to make it more, but Gervin charging these flashbangs so fast denies any of that. We're left with a 3-3 in this chaotic fight by point.
Alrighty, back pretty much right where it was in the mid-fight. Crescent Elite, that's what it feels like. He seems looking to try and fight over control there. Corvus gonna throw down his ult and put his hat on out there. Payload still staggered and slowed and stopped, regressing even. Got a minute and a half left on the map. Scooter, not a lot of health left for him. 1,200 to try and play around with before getting healed up. It just feels like the aggression for Carnage Gaming kind of disappeared for them here. I don't know how quite to pull it back in their favor. It's not going to start with Ares going down.
No, for sure. They're going to lose Scooter afterwards. Actually, that stun was super close, but Scooter, once he's marked by that big game, the Enforcer damage reduction doesn't really hit the same way that it did earlier, so he will fall. And InControl will be able to kind of push forward and retake this space on the midpoint. They needed to get some heals, though. We got kind of tagged. But, I mean, they have a couple ways to get in and out. They can have the Talus specifically engaged. They can have Buck kind of walk up and save his dash. But they don't pay attention to Scooter. Both tanks take room on the right side, and they lose Amadeus for it.
Getting aggressive, Scooter's going to be able to go in. He's just looking for the knockups right now. Travels the world. Doesn't really help find too much aggression. This team's back on that payload. 30 seconds left, and it's finally going to make it approaching the 1/3 of the way there mark. Trying to finalize this push is going to be difficult. Damage is going to be good there for Chow. Double kill, looking to try and make it 3. Scooter takes that one away. So it's just going to be the 2 split up, and it looks like a full-on team wipe here. Is InControl gonna be forced to respawn, play for this one out of their base. That's a great way to get past this. And then an overpower to make sure Ice Monkey's even more staggered out. 13 seconds before he's gonna be back in the equation. You're going into overtime, but you're going into overtime with an advantage here. If you're Carnage Gaming, forcing InControl to play awkwardly, they're gonna get aggressive. Good Dread Serpent to make sure things stay locked down. But Corvus going for the slows. The percent damage is too good for him, and that's gonna be a couple of kills for Carnage, as well as the conversion.
I mean, 2 ultimates used. 3 actually, sorry, with the Cataclysm used earlier, but I think it was absolutely worth it. It's a little confident saying, hey, listen, we don't even need these ultimates to beat you on the next mid-fight, but maybe they don't. Maybe they can actually just burn down these flanks and not let them get in from InControl with Carnage off to, I think, a ripping start here. 2-0 off of it. Look at these damage charts, though. King Kaiser, I didn't expect him to be doing this much, but I guess it makes sense if he's the one peeling for Scooter. He's actually above the Strix, who's been charging these flashbangs so quickly. Maeve and Rom both lower, but they are just the ones following up on all the damage that they have. Check these healing charts as well. Corvus and Damba both pretty close, and I think that's about what they do. They both have that healing output and utility, so makes sense for them to have about the same throughput. But we'll see how InControl react to how they want to set up this time. InControl got a lot of free cap time, but I think it's on the rest of the team to stop Carnage from just wrapping around them and taking all that ground.
Have to see if this 2-0 can get turned around. Is the ultimate question overall. Damage looking good. Ares is already off the board and 60%.
Wow.
Before I could even glance up at the screen, InControl are dominating this one. Comeback mechanic. It's difficult to play against, and I think Carnage Gaming are getting a fresh reminder of that over time. Gonna get ticked up thanks to Scooter. That's gonna be the ult from King Kaiser going deep here for Ares. Gonna be able to find that kill, but can they find more? The 2 tanks on the side of Carnage looking to try and fight their way in the old-fashioned way. Doesn't look like their damage is enough just yet, though. Rachel looking too low. That shield, it's so good to keep him alive. Finally, someone finds the hit. This timer taken down. It's actually Carnage who are left in control of this point for right now. Damage is going to be coming through. Aries is back. One more set of daggers gets the kill on Mika. One more for Max Souza. He's not going to be able to find him, though. Ends up missing a couple of pairs there, and Aries forced to fall back with a 99. Stopped in its tracks for now. Carnage Gaming, 70% and rising. They just have to keep Ice Monkey away, and honestly, for Nara, it might not be too difficult. Right now, they are just dominating the point.
We'll make it back in there. Rashao falls, not knowing Ice Monkey was behind. With Rom engaging, oh, that was actually a dangerous retreat there, but Crimson will live. Dreadserpent comes in. I don't know if anyone can retouch. It's fast overtime, too. So InControl, just off the back of an initial pick that they managed to get on Aries, they retake again a second time. Fight went constantly back and forth, but Inara just being able to walk in seals the deal for them.
Died too fast, unfortunately, there is Aries. So now, Payload going. Much better start than Carnage Gaming got as well. This Payload already coming into the cave on the side of the map. Moving forward as it loops around here. Pressure mounted up. I mean, InControl are in as best a position you can be in 2 minutes left to be able to find a conversion.
They want to do it. I think Carnage want to engage, though. I mean, they have this Ramen Mave. They might actually be able to just run past them and fight this. But a slow in the way of them, and Gervin getting the first. They can actually maybe just slow push this. But look at this, another fight on the side from Amadeus. He's juking shots back and forth, but doesn't have the recovery. The Buckwild finds nothing, but a seismic crash tries to catch Rashao, but doesn't get anything either.
Good shot from Gervin. I wasn't expecting much out of that one, but he finds the kill on King Kaiser. That's just going to be slowed down again. He's pinging people from so far away. Credit for that kill as well. Well played so far from the sniper, and it looks like this is going to be a good little bit of a stagger and push back defense from Carnage Gaming. Again, moving the line of scrimmage as far into InControl's zone as they can. It's just going to be whether they can follow it up. There's so many low targets, that healing going to be too much. Aries, unfortunately, unable to get there, but has the Midnight and should be able to make that ring true in the event they need to either find a hard defense or maybe re-aggress into that push that InControl could have. But otherwise, I like the suite of ultimates Carnage Gaming have right now. Ideally, they don't use any of them going in the next round. It would definitely make things easier for them. But if they have to, then that gets pulled out.
Honestly, I feel like Max kind of putting the team on his back there. The fact that they were all solo that entire time and Max just pocketed everyone through all this damage, that fight, them surviving that, was all on him. But finally, when he falls, they're going to be able to manage to push this cart forward again once they finally get rid of that Dom. But they have ultimates. They have Dreadserpent defensively. Sorry, Dreadserpent offensively if they want. Their Cataclysm comes in to knock down the wall. They're actually using 2 ults early on the defense, but it's enough to kill Ice Monkey. No tanks remaining. They have to win these DPS duels if they hope to convert.
And, well, the damage is good so far for Mika, but not onto a target that's going to make a big difference. Unfortunately, that one's going to fall apart where it landed. Good kill onto the Inara, but like you said, trades out 2 ults in the process. Buck loses his, or had used his slightly earlier in the round, so he's at 73%. So 3 total not available. 2-point advantage. Carnage Gaming, 1 point from winning the set.
I think they have the tools to convert it too. I mean, they are missing some ultimates, but the answers are there from InControl. Possibly they could just engage with a Midnight. They have Scout, but be enough to force that out, wait, and then refight after without anything being kind of caught out there for them. But definitely going to be missing that Cataclysm and that Entropic Breach. Let's take a look at this Talus build, actually, see if things have changed much after the nerfs to his build. And yeah, actually, Guts completely removed from the build.
Wow.
Entirely. That DR, low HP after the nerf. I guess no one even wants to look at it anymore. So that's taken out, all relying on lifesteals. So Kaiser might actually fall off as the game goes on a little longer, but he's stacking lifesteal pretty hard, and they're ready to engage. Overpower comes in early, and now no healing left for InControl.
Aries going to get credit for that first kill. He was the first one dead this time around. He's the second one dead throughout the round, but there's no support online for InControl Nation. That's going to be all they need to make sure they get credit for that one. Scooter Rachel making sure to get their names on the board. Kind of surprised to see the slow percentage tick for Carnage, but they finally get there, and they're going to start picking them up. 30 to 39. Now matched and surpassed InControl. Trying to find their way back in. Have comeback mechanic enabled. If they're able to touch down, they'll capture it so much faster. But a good Dreadserpent, it's going to catch Aries out in the air. Not enough to lock him down. He's low health, but not dead. Scooter in the backline, eliminated. Buck Wild used appropriately, but Midnight's still available. Turn off the lights for InControl. On the objective as of right now, 60 to 50, about as close as you could get in the middle of this point. It's going to be Carnage that move back in and find the damage from Maeve. No kills online just yet. Carnage Gaming in the driver's seat, again, controlling the objective. Ice Monkey has to do something quick because they are losing control of this point very fast. Scooter charged up his ult, looking for the setup. Just whether or not they can find it to turn this one around. 85% picked up here for InControl. He's going to go forward with a dash. Instead, runs right into where the damage is. Corvus tries to set it up for him. Dies with his ult, and that might be enough to cost them the point here. It's going to be a clean sweep. InControl keep themselves alive. Find point number 2. Put Carnage Gaming back in the back burner.
They just don't have a way to really sustain on the point when these fights get this hectic on the side of Carnage. If InControl can just win the stalemate game and just play their heals, they win it. They have a Nara. It's enough, honestly, to turn this around. Look at Amadeus right now living in front of everyone. So much distraction for Kaiser as he outputs a ton of damage. They're so distracted by him right now that Rashao able to kind of take this space on the side. They should clean up this Cassie if he gets the reload, and he does. Storm bullets getting loaded up just back in time, but these tanks are just cleaning house with InControl.
I mean, as long as they can continue running pace like this, they're not going to find themselves in too much trouble. Again, you can't win on a defense right here, so finding it will just kind of stalemate everything to Carnage. But a win for InControl actually maybe takes away the advantage they've had so far. That could control the fate of this game. Of course, 3-3 Game 5. Probably what we deserve after this. Has been a stellar set between these two teams. A lot of great moments and turnaround potential. A couple of 4-0s, 3 of them that came through, and that's going to be a great stun from Scooter as well. No big follow-up though. So even though he finds, I believe, a 3-man stun there, only going to be able to get the kills on the retreat. One more hit to get rid of Souza, but he's just dancing around in his gourd. No one locks him down. And InControl, that could have been a huge just loss of players, of everything. Instead, they just managed to hold it where they are. They're still in a good spot.
I can't believe Rashao is still alive. He just absorbed so much pressure, and that wastes so much time away from InControl. But a perfect wall from Ice Monkey will catch him in. He still has his shout and his shield. Enough for the wall. Who's there supporting him, actually? It looks like Ares rotates over, and Rashao lives again on it by a thread. How much HP? I couldn't even tell now. But he still managed to stay alive, even if they might sacrifice Ares for it. No, they all live. The Corvus healing. The output is just so much combined with all the sustain.
Yeah, we're going to have to, at this point, the amount of not deaths that are happening are outrageous, and realistically should be turning into some kills. Finally, a couple pop up on the board. 20 seconds left. This payload, it's in that awkward spot. It's close enough to get converted, but it feels like the team's far enough that they might not be able to find it. About 12 seconds left with Ares going down. Rashao, it's opening up the conversation here. Carnage Gaming getting eliminated, forced to retreat. It should at least give us an overtime here in the next second. It's going to go ahead and start up for InControl. March this one forward. The long line of sight. Gimme Strix any day here. It's going to look good, although the shots not all connecting. Gervin, too many targets to look at, too many places to try and lock down. Flashbang available for him. Damage for his team's going pretty well. Stalled just a few feet from conversion, are InControl. There he's going down. That starts to open the conversation. Rashao almost able to follow. That shield's going to save his life for a little bit. Buy some time for his team, specifically for Ares to respawn. But unfortunately, the stagger is too good. Rashao and Scooter both taken down. Nobody else can get out here. And Kresnik, we are, in fact, going to a 3-3.
I mean, when you watch Rashao go in the back line and make so much... I mean, Rashao is like the Big Bang. He is making space. All space. He has created all space ever. From what's happening right now, he's absorbing so much aggro, and then you turn back to the point after they finally deal with him, and Ice Monkey's above half HP. What's happening up front when Rashao is doing that's not letting his team necessarily clean up on that? Ice Monkey is just living in front of a Strix and a Rom and a Maeve, effectively all at the same time. Looking at the damage charts, I mean, Cassie's doing an absurd amount of damage, but the rest of them are pretty compacted up there. I think they just have to find a way to deal with this Inara, but she is just a stalwart presence on this objective that they just cannot shake off.
Yeah, for someone who's 9-10, 166,000 damage definitely rings true to InControl. But this is it. Game number 5. Whoever wins this point wins it all. Dread Serpent Gonna be able to find some control. Rachel walks into it, ends up eating that fear, but the damage and the kills end up coming in favor of Carnage. That's gonna be 2 that they've already picked up, but look at that percentage, 42, thanks to Ice Monkey standing on this point. He's gonna get drained. And now we're back to a stalemate. Carnage just trying to catch right back up as they hold on here. That's gonna be enough. We're waiting for InControl to get back into the fight.
See how they get back in. Actually, Rune used early, so King Kaiser won't have that to make his way back in. The entire team kind of in the same line as they look forward to however they can get in and make this play here with Rashao. Definitely not letting anyone get by on a mount. He throws himself into the backline with Ares. This isn't who I expected to be diving, but it just might work. But Ares has to disengage early, and now Rashao on an island alone and completely surrounded.
With Ares gone, you lose a lot of your damage, but it's 99% for Carnage Gaming. Finally, someone's going to be able to displace a little bit, and now Ice Monkey left in control of the point. Scooter walks out with his life. No stuns. They're waiting and waiting for their damage to return. Ares is back, Midnight available, and gonna go ahead and turn off the lights one last time to go in on this one. Tries to find it, 99 to 87. A lot of damage dumped into the ROM, though. He's not gonna be able to walk out alive. One more shot, one more kill. Ice Monkey, credit for that one as they lock that one down. Ares as well off the backline, going to go down. It's a 3v5 here for Carnage Gaming. They want to do everything they can. Amadeus looking to put him down. The shotgun too strong. Gervin finds the quick scope, but is it enough to pull them in? One last touch isn't gonna find it. InControl pull it back from the grips of defeat there and find themselves a victory.
The Corvus missed the point. He threw his projection straight past it. There at the end, if he had hit the statue and then ulted, they actually would have had another overtime. Maybe it would have been enough to get a tank back. But they couldn't. They didn't have the tanks that really lived through it. Maybe Rom does 1 or 2 more passes jogging through, getting those miles added up, but he would have been shredded by the Cassie. There was a close match at the end, but I feel like that Cassie counter on the ROM was so key to them. I didn't look at the stats at the very end. We can pull them up actually right now just to see, as long as that is the right one. But Mika specifically, 186,000 damage. The next closest was Gervin.
That's a lot of damage.
At 138. That's 50,000 damage difference. Almost all of it put into Scooter because he took 234,000 across that game.
That is so much for one tank to take, let alone the fact that there are 2 incredibly played by these 2 Brazilian teams. And even more impressive to me, I think Carnage favored throughout most of this set. Losing out to InControl showcases that nothing in Brazil as of right now has been determined, and I think that's just going to keep things interesting as we move forward. Good control from them. I think Carnage are still looking solid going into the future. There's a lot of teams that couldn't hold up to them, but Cassie, I think in that game, 10, 11, 18, maybe not the flashiest slash line, did everything in their power for Mika to stop Ares and crew on Carnage to do anything.
Yeah, I think they just had the answers to what Carnage brought at the end of the game. I think, looking at Gervin, he only died 5 times across that whole game. Crimson only died 4. But when it mattered, InControl actually pulled the fights out. The bottom deaths, Max and Kaiser kind of tied. Actually, let me go back to the stat screen. I want to check out... Actually, I have the stat screen in front of me, but I should show probably the viewers as well. It's nice of me. I'm shocked that Max didn't end up out-healing Crimson. I think, and the fact that he healed 20k less than Crimson is actually shocking to me, because not only did he have a Nara pocket, I got that there were 2 tanks on the side of Carnage, but I felt like so many fights were kept on one by a thread off the back of Max playing phenomenally on this Damba.
Well, the question is, and I hate to bring it big picture, but we have to sometimes. InControl, Carnage, great between them. What happens when you start factoring in Parallax? That's the question here for Brazil. As of right now, they still seem to be dominating the region.
Gore.
So we'll have to see as time goes forward.
Gore, I feel bad for I feel like every time we talk about Brazil, we talk about how good these teams are, and they go, yeah, but Parallax is still in that region. Let them live in an island. InControl are sick, right?
Hey, they
are
sick.
That
was an awesome
set. I don't want any qualifiers for today. There are no more qualifiers. Parallax plays tomorrow.
No more qualifiers.
We'll talk about them then when all the emotes are in the chat of all the players that watch Maytau's stream. Come in to spam it. We'll give it to them then. For now, InControl are sick, and I can't wait to see them further as this phase goes on.
Well, I'm excited, again, as we continue throughout all of this. I think that was phenomenal, and we're only in week 3. The fact that we're getting stuff like this is insane to me. They've grown incredibly fast. It seems like that summer break didn't take its toll on some people. So that is going to be the interesting one that comes through. But that is it here for Brazil. I know we've been going for 3 hours, almost 3.5, and there's still more to come. North America is going to come up right after this break.